Okay, everyone. My name is Kerry, Swarr, Chief Growth Officer for Urban Teachers, and excited to host tonight's webinar. So thank you for joining. If you have questions throughout the presentation, feel free to post them in the Zoom webinar chat tool, and I will try to keep an eye out for it as I go through the presentation so I can answer questions as we go. And if for some reason I miss one or two, I will definitely go back at the end and try to catch that. So, but I will jump right in here. Here we go. So at Urban Teachers, we think that there's no more important education reform than teacher quality. And I'm going to sort of set the stage for the need. So overall, the U.S. education system, in many ways, could be seen as failing to educate all of our children. So there's a lot of data that shows that American students rank 25th in math, 17th in science, and 14th in reading compared to students in 27 other industrialized countries. And then drilling down to U.S. education system and urban low-income children, typically, you can see with this comparison of fourth grade NAEP math and reading achievement scores, you can see although there's been improvement over the last 10 years, there continues to be that persistent gap between those who are eligible for free and reduced lunch and those that are not. And then student achievement really is directly tied to teacher effectiveness. So compared to the average teacher, students taught by effective teachers gain 4.5 months, almost half a school year of learning, while students taught by ineffective teachers actually lose 3.1 months. So you put that together, and the difference between an effective teacher, students with an effective teacher versus students with an ineffective teacher, is as much as 7.6 month difference in student gains, 7.6 months worth. And then a couple other data points I wanted to share that poor and minority students routinely have less effective teachers. So 2 data points here. Students at predominantly minority schools are much more likely to be taught by novice teachers. And then similarly, core classes in high poverty and high minority secondary schools are also much more likely to be taught by out-of-field teachers. At Urban Teachers, our mission is to prepare a great teacher every time. We really care and work very hard to ensure that all students succeed, and that Urban Teachers is preparing a pipeline of game-changing teachers that stay in the profession. The demand for Urban Teachers is growing. We actually started in 2010 in just DC and Baltimore. And this last August 2016, we expanded to Dallas-Fort Worth. And so now we're still serving well over, I think we're in the 600s for residents and teachers. School partners is well over 100, and we're serving over 20,000 students. This is just a snapshot of who we are. This last summer, we welcomed over 200 new residents in Baltimore, DC, and the first inaugural cohort in Dallas-Fort Worth. And those cohorts, about 58% were people of color, 30% were sort of local and came to their city placements from the Mid-Atlantic or the Texas area. The average GPA was a 3.3. 38% of our cohort are first-generation college graduates, and about 38% enter straight out of undergrad, with about up to 44% come in with 1 to 3 years of experience. I wanted to share Urban Teachers' core values. First off, and number one, and definitely on purpose, is that we serve children. Also that we are a team, that we're each responsible for Urban Teachers' success. Our work can always get better, and that is definitely with our work working with teachers. Our work only gets better with data and feedback, and that we also live fun and full lives. And I am noticing I'm a little shiny because I did go for a run right before this. That's part of my fun. Here's the Urban Teachers model, and I'll walk you through here. First year is your residency year. So it is built similar to the medical model for training doctors. So participants serve as co-teachers in 4 different urban classroom settings with support from Urban Teachers and our higher ed partner, Johns Hopkins School of Ed, expert faculty. So what that means is that you have 2 summers and then 2 different host teacher experiences during that residency year. You also have 2 years of clinical coursework. So that is your master's degree, which you get from Johns Hopkins University School of Ed. Some of you may know that they are headquartered in Baltimore, where we are as well. However, we have hired all the faculty in each of the cities. So all of the coursework that you take as part of our program and the master's program is done in person in each of the cities that we work in. And it's designed to go completely with the residency program. So that is how you get the clinical. So you are the clinical, and again, similar to the medical model, is that you are working in real classrooms with real kids as you are learning, but you are not the teacher of record till the second year. In year 3 years is one-on-one coaching, 3 years of one-on-one coaching. You get over 100 hours of coaching to ensure your continual improvement of teaching practice. So I don't know any other teacher prep program in the country that provides that level of support. And then 4 years of working in an urban school. So you're going to get extensive experience. We work with you to get your job placement. And typically it is your residency and then 3-year teaching commitment, typically at the same school. And so that is just a really great experience where great teachers are definitely needed. As I shared, the Urban Teachers Higher Ed partner is Johns Hopkins School of Education. They're ranked number 2 in the country according to U.S. News and World Report, and they have partnered with us to confer the master's degree. And it is, as I mentioned, delivered in person by our expert faculty. In fact, about a quarter of our faculty have PhD or EDDs. They all have extensive experience as classroom teachers as well. And this is the same faculty. They're teaching the coursework. They also serve as your coaches as well. So they are going with you into your classroom. We also want you to know that Urban Teachers is an AmeriCorps affiliate program. So our cohort 2017 and 18, you may be eligible for up to 2 years of AmeriCorps service, and you can get 4 per lifetime. You may also be eligible for up to 2 Siegel AmeriCorps Education Awards. They can be used towards the cost of tuition for a master's program. And that benefit right now is worth about $5,700 a year for a total of almost $11,000 over the first 2 years of the program. So again, I'll just sort of walk you through sort of a slide that takes it in a slightly different slice here. But I'll talk about our selection process. Folks do need to have their bachelor's degree by June of 2017 to participate in our program this June. All of our 3 sites start in June, with Dallas, Fort Worth sites starting the earliest, Baltimore starting the latest. We do like to see experience with children, though it is not required. We do also prefer to have a 3.0 GPA, although we are able to go down to 2.75 for exceptional candidates and have a little more wiggle room down to 2.5 in 2 of our sites in DC and Dallas, Fort Worth, only if you have a STEM major or work background or are already working with one of our school partners. We're definitely looking for folks who are results-oriented, resilient, reflective, all those great things. Definitely can take feedback. So those are all the things that we're looking for. And then obviously that you're willing to make a commitment for 4 years for our program. We have an online application. Then folks are invited to a digital performance task, and then you're invited to a final interview day. And we do those at each of our sites, also in major cities and also virtually. So we try to be as convenient as possible for you all. From there, if you're selected, you join your residency, and we kick it off with Summer Institute that starts, like I said, in June, where you're placed with actually 2 summer placements, but then in the fall, you get placed with a host teacher, and you co-teach with them for the first half of the year, and then you actually switch and have a second host teacher for the second half of the year. And we do that on purpose because we do want you to experience 2 different teaching styles under those 2 different teachers, but also see potentially 2 different grade levels, because it does make you a better teacher seeing those different perspectives. So we have made that change as a key learning point of ours along the way. The other thing I wanted to show you is that the white boxes there, what's important to know about Urban Teachers is that we also are a program that has very high accountability. So there's a high bar to get into our program, but also a high bar to stay in our program. So you have to meet certain GPA requirements with the masters. You have to meet teaching practice rubric expectations, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. And then you also have to demonstrate high levels of growth mindset and professionalism. So if you pass that, move on to year two. Year two is the first time you're a first-year teacher with your own classroom. So that happens at year two. And by design, after that residence year, you're going to feel much more prepared than the other typical first-year teachers that might be down the hall from you, because you've had 1,500 hours of practice and probably completed about 80% of your master's degree. So you are going to really have a leg up and be much more prepared for the students that you're in charge of. You finish the master's degree at the end of year two, so there's a couple seminar courses that you take in the evenings to finish your degree. And again, you continue to have to meet those high bars, those GPA, increasing teaching practice expectations, demonstrate high levels of growth mindset and professionalism. Year three, this is the year that you get certified through Urban Teachers. So Urban Teachers is approved in the states of Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Texas to grant certification in certain areas. We are able to do it in elementary education, in secondary English language arts, and secondary math. And by secondary, I'm talking about grades 6 through 12. We also, you would choose one of those, actually, in the master's tracks. So there are 3 tracks there. You choose one of those. And everybody in our program also gets coursework and also certification in special ed. So that's really unique in the field. And if you join us in Dallas-Fort Worth, you also get ESL certification as well. So English as a second language. So that's another key benefit. If you're interested in that, I encourage you to choose Dallas-Fort Worth as your site. So once you're certified, you do move on to year 3. That's your 3rd year teaching with your classroom placement with Urban Teachers. You finish up your commitment to Urban Teachers. Many of our folks in our program take on leadership roles such as host teachers, such as summer mentor, things like that. They often are becoming team leads, so for their grade, or department chairs for their content areas. So really getting asked to do a lot of teacher leadership roles by that point because of the expertise that they have. Lastly, I just wanted to mention again that our folks get over 100 hours of one-on-one coaching, years 1, 2, and 3. And in fact, that really underestimates what you get. You have access to your coach. Other coaches are coming in your building, working with the other colleagues, and are definitely checking in on you as well. So there's this coaching is really, really tailored to your specific needs based on a teaching practice rubric, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So I just have a couple data points I wanted to share. At the end of the school year, we always ask our host teachers to rate their residents' performance. And this last year, 96% said Urban Teachers residents provide additional value to student learning. So one of the things that host teachers like too, other than they are learning from our teachers as well, is that they are able to have a second adult in their classroom and are able to do a lot more small group learning. So there is a huge benefit to the students in those classes because of that. Another data point here is that our teachers are really highly satisfied with their preparation. So 93% said Urban Teachers gave them the knowledge and skills to be an effective classroom teacher. This is a quote from one of our principals, Joe Menko, who talked to NPR's Marketplace about his first-year teacher, Kevin Chandler. Said he's the first-year teacher, who he's hired in 5 years, but he's happy to say he's far and the best first-year teacher he's ever seen. So Joe Menko does not have a lot of teacher turnover, so he does, in Baltimore in his class, he does have trained some residents and then encourages his principal friends to pick them up for their teacher commitments for the next 3 years. So as I promised, I mentioned the teacher practice rubric. So this is a document that is very detailed, and this is just the big buckets. And so you are going to learn a lot of skills under these. So you're going to be learning all about how to build productive and nurturing classroom environments, So how to organize your students in small group learning, what to put on the walls to really foster learning. The second one there is that you're going to become a master diagnostician. So part of this work is really assessing where students are, know where their strengths and weaknesses are, and then be working towards improving them. Fostering academic conversations. So a quiet classroom is maybe not the best one. We really think that you learn through academic talk, and that is sort of maybe not as intuitive to the non-educator, but that takes a lot of skill to really get to rigorous conversation between a teacher and a student and among students in the classroom every day. You also are going to learn how to set precise goals and enact them. And then obviously what's great and why I love this field too is that you're going to always pursue continuous learning. You're never going to be done, which is exciting to me. As I talked about, it's actually a Master's of Science in Education that you receive from Johns Hopkins University School of Education. As I shared, there are 3 different programs of study that you can choose from. And it's secondary math, elementary ed, secondary English language arts. I will tell you, if you are interested in secondary math, we just prefer that you have at least calculus college level class with a B or better. And if you do, and you're any other major, then we would definitely want you to consider teaching math. We're really looking for folks for that program of study in particular. As I shared, there's 3 years of one-on-one coaching, and it is a little bit front-loaded so that you have about 36 hours in your residency year, 36 hours in your first year, and then the remaining hours in your second year. This is a slide that just shows you visually how you spend your residency year. So you can see, as I mentioned, your summer A, summer B. Summer A, you're a co-teacher in a summer program. Summer B, at the end of your residency year, you're already a lead teacher in a summer program. So we do move you along quickly. There is basically gradual release in our program too, and a lot of this is by design, so that in October we give you a couple days where you're teaching all subjects all the time, so you really get a taste of what it's like to really have to prepare for those long days every single minute of those days. And then we give you another taste in December, and then you get 2 weeks in January, and then 5 weeks in the spring. So really building sort of the stamina in you so that you are ready to take over your own class that following year. So that again is all by design. And so overall, I should say too, that you're getting over 1,500 hours, clinical hours of experience in urban classrooms before you're a teacher of record where you're responsible for students' learning. So this is really important time for you to improve your teaching practice before you are it. So the other thing, as I mentioned, that we have very strong accountability. And so I just wanted to talk again about that third year where you get certified. And actually, this is a major accountability moment where actually we also look at student gains as part of the decision-making process. So actually over the first and second years of your teaching years, we will be doing pre and post testing for all of the students in your classes. And we'll be ensuring that you can improve their student achievement. And that's worth 40% of this teacher effectiveness evaluation. Another 40% is your teaching practice. And so that is through the coaching. There is an evaluation component to the coaching. And then the final 20% is whether or not you have the growth mindset and professionalism of an effective teacher. And so it's that combination of those pieces of the pie that really determine whether or not urban teachers will recommend you for certification. So I just wanted to talk briefly about placement. At this point in our process, we are still giving offers for all 3 sites, so Baltimore, DC, and Dallas-Fort Worth. I do not know if we will close one or more because of them being full before the end of the process. So if you have a particular city you're interested in, I encourage you to apply soon. We also, so when we give the offer, we do give it for a specific city. However, we do not let you know what school placement you have till towards the end of Summer Institute. So we do matching processes, and each of the sites sometimes do it a little bit differently. But generally, once you arrive for Summer Institute, there will be what are sort of like career fairs, kind of, so to speak, with all of our principals. And so you go through a process where we would match you up for interviews with slots that match what you've preferenced as your program of study, grade, and content area. We do make no guarantees, so there is a supply and demand issue, and we do our best to match people where they are. Our own founder likes to say, you will like what you get. So she taught 9th grade English, and that was always her preference, but that's what she knew. So so whatever you get, you will learn, you will like. So we want you to be flexible and open-minded, because urban schools really have huge need. And sometimes they need you to go where you're needed. That is what we can absolutely guarantee, that you will be where you are needed. The other thing that we do is we definitely make every attempt to place our residents in at least pairs, and often more, at school sites. Again, because it's very important to have the peer support. And one of our residents in DC just mentioned to me, she new graduate that moved from Minnesota to DC, and is living after the Summer Institute, had chose to live with 5 other urban teacher residents, and is very happy and feeling very settled 6 months into the move here, and felt that that was a very different for many of her other friends that just moved to a city for a job, who did not have any of those kind of networks. So there is a huge benefit of having coming into urban teachers in a city, whether you're already from there or new there, to really have immediate friends, because you're spending a lot of time together. So that's really helpful, and people who really are very like-minded and driven, interested in the same things you are. And again, we place our residents in early childhood placements, so pre-K for sure, kindergarten, elementary slots, grades 6 through 12 for literacy, 6 through 12 for math, and in Baltimore, DC, and now Dallas and Fort Worth. And actually, I should say, if you're familiar with the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the mid-cities in between. So we do cover that range of territory down there in Texas. Okay, wanted to talk through the money slides. So during your residency, you do get a $20,000 stipend to live on while you're doing your master's. We also pay for your healthcare coverage through the Johns Hopkins School of Ed student healthcare. We pay for your room and board for the summer. We also pay for your books and materials for your master's. So that's a really good deal for a master's program. Just starting in the second year is when you get the full teacher salary and benefits. And so in the cities that we work in, that ranges between 42 and 52, some of the highest in the nation. All of those places include an increase once you receive the master's. And all of them also do pay for performance. So the cities we work in, and the school districts and charter management organizations we work in, they pay more and pay more basically, and more quickly move you up the salary ladders if you're effective. So by design of being successful at Urban Teachers, you should be able to access those incentives. There is a $40,000 tuition for our program in the master's degree. It is paid out over the first 2 years, and you can get federal financial aid. So to cover all those costs, so since we work with Johns Hopkins, you'd fill out a FAFSA, and you'd work with the School of Ed's financial aid office to get financial aid, and it'd be timed seamlessly so that when the bills come, you would have that money from financial aid. There's also loan forgiveness after teaching for a minimum of 5 years, so 2 years beyond Urban Teachers commitment. And if you teach math or special ed, it is significant. It is about $17,500 right now. If you teach other subject areas, it's more like $5,000, but nothing. That's all good. If you are, you also can receive up to 2 Siegel AmeriCorps awards with our program, and that is almost $11,000 that you get over that first 2 years too. So that should really help you. That essentially brings down that tuition to $29,000. There's also the Teach grant that many of our folks are able to get as well, which is another $3,000 to $4,000. So it really makes it a very affordable way to go to train and to enter this career. Lastly, I just wanted to quickly talk about, again, just sort of reiterate how quickly you are taking on leadership opportunities. For some, you're already a co-teacher in our summer program. Summer 2, you're already a lead teacher in our summer program. The 3rd and 4th summer, you can start being a resident advisor, a summer mentor, teaching assistant, graduate assistant in our program. And many other organizations are seeking you out in the summer too. So we are, connecting you to a lot of opportunities. During the school year, there's opportunity to be a mentor, teacher, host teacher. Those of you in our elementary track also get access to core intervention training. That's research-based training that helps train you to teach students how to read if they've missed the window between pre-K and 2nd grade. So that's a really great toolkit that you'll get as well. And really, you're going to be part of Urban Teachers and really help shape our organization as we expand around the country. We are looking to expand to other parts of the country over the next couple of years, and probably topping out at about 5 to 7 regions. So we're not ever going to be huge. We're definitely interested in making a huge impact in the sites that we work in, and over time hope to be a larger percentage of the teachers that are in the workforce in any given city. Partly probably because we're in DC, we do get called to be part of policy and advocacy conversations. So there's opportunities there for folks in our program too. I have a couple slides that I have that highlight some of our, actually these are alums. So Adrian was one of our first folks in our program teaching in DC. She's a graduate of George Washington University and worked 3 days a week through DC Reads. If you're in the DC area, it's sort of a well-known program that really got her interested in teaching, and she's been with Urban Teachers ever since. We placed her with Center City Public Charter Schools, where she was a first grade teacher for, I think, 5 years, I think. And then just this year, she's actually just, she moved into the central office for Center City Public Charter Schools, and now is a curriculum writer. So she's just moved out of the classroom after many years. And she also just joined our board as the first alum member that we've ever had. So really great person. And then here's Yeoman. She's one of our first folks in Baltimore. And she had sort of a unique story with her mother was going through a master's in teaching at the same time, and saw really a huge difference between what Yeoman was experiencing with her very hands-on, clinically based master's that had assignments that weren't really out of the book, but were definitely getting her doing student teaching. So dramatic difference. And now Yeoman, 3 years out of our program, is now serving as an Urban Teachers clinical faculty in special ed. Avery on the right, he is a first-year teacher now in our Baltimore program. He was involved with the pre-collegiate emerging scholars program at Dillard, and really got interested in teaching and joined us in Baltimore, and is really thriving in Baltimore as well. So I talked through briefly our process. So just again, we have an online application, it's urbanteachers.org. We have a digital performance task where you record yourself answering a handful of questions, and there's also a few writing tasks as well. Then you get invited to a final interview that can be either in person or virtually. We have many opportunities to do that over the next couple months. And then the other thing I did want to mention, there is a requirement to pass Praxis Core for Baltimore, DC by May 22nd, so you can go through our selection process. And you don't need to wait till you pass Praxis Core. We just need you to do it by May 22nd. And we also, those of you coming to Texas, have to pass one of the PAC tests. We have just started earlier in January our first free online Praxis Core math course, and I put the link here. It is free and open to anyone. So let's see if I can do this, but I'm gonna try to, oops. I think I'm not able to do that. So hopefully you can write it down while you're looking at it. um, so that's a free online math course that you can access and you can share with your friends who might also be needing that support. We also expect to announce and have the links for 2 packed courses as well. One for the math component of the early childhood through 6th grade test, and then also math course for the math content for packed test 7 through 12. So that'll be available sometime next week. So excited to be announcing that. We also have financial aid for Praxis Core and the PAC test. So if that's something that you need, we are able to support in that way as well. Okay, then lastly here, you already saw, we have 2 deadlines left. The next one is coming up on Monday, so we are pushing that for sure with everybody on this webinar tonight. We hope that you'll complete an application by February 13th. We do have one more March 27th, but we hope that you'll meet our February 13th deadline and get in the queue for the final interview days that are finishing up February and into March. So this is actually a picture of our summer mentors. And actually those folks are on a lot of our material, including right here, he's on the right too. Eric Dabney is in our program, one of our great models of teachers who are finished our program. He just finished, and he is one of the folks that gives back and is a summer mentor for us. So that's where I was going to stop. So I don't know if folks have any questions, and I'm going to see if I can grab. So I had 2 things for you. One, I am doing another webinar at 8 o'clock tonight. Copy. So I'm going to hopefully do this. So that's the link for the next webinar, which I'll have as a Q&A with folks in our program. And unfortunately, because of everyone's schedule, I think that the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to have a fellow from Baltimore for the first part, and then I'm going to be joined by 2 residents in DC for the middle part, and then I have a resident from Dallas joining at the end, all because of coursework. So we'll talk Baltimore, DC, and then Dallas, Fort Worth to round out the next Q&A session. So I hope that you can join me for that. And then I'm going to go back here and grab this link for you and put it in the chat tool too. So if anybody here has any questions, I'm posting those links in the chat tool. Great, and you all are answering me. Hopefully this last one works here. Hopefully, usually it looks like there might be a little bit of delay, but hopefully it'll show up. Great question. So the Hopkins part, so a question about the application for Hopkins. So you have to get accepted by urban teachers first. And so what we do is then once you're accepted by urban teachers, we bundle your essay that you write for our application. So make sure you do a good job there. Your recommendations and your resume, and we bundle that and give it to Johns Hopkins on your behalf. Then we'll provide a link for you to a very short application that will get you into Johns Hopkins system. And then their staff will review your application, and then you will get an official approval from them as well. So that does take another week or 2, depending on when you hit them. But then you are officially approved by them. There are other scholarships through Johns Hopkins that are available, and it is on our materials on our website. And you won't be able to apply to them until you've been accepted by the program. And similarly, you can start a FAFSA, but they will not act on it until you're officially approved into the Johns Hopkins program, and then they will act on your financial aid as well. So those are tied. Great question. Any other questions tonight? I'll try again with that Thinkific, and I'm not sure why it's not showing. So hopefully you can write it down. I'm not sure. Luckily I got the one through. I don't know why the second one isn't coming through yet. It'll probably pop up multiple times. It's usually what happens. Any other questions tonight that I can help folks with? Yeah, so community college students. So yeah, so if you're a community college student, so folks who, so just so you know, community college, and no offense to anybody else, but community college students are some of our favorites, because we know that you work very hard to get where you are, and really have the resilience that we're looking for. So, so when we see somebody with community college background, we are excited. And so we do, you know, need you to complete a 4-year degree. So that would be the next part. And then we would definitely love for you to be in touch. Folks who are considered juniors, so depending on how your transferring of credits would work, if you're considered a junior, you can apply early decision for urban teachers. And then the way that works is that you can then tell us during your senior year, you know, whether or not you're actually joining us, and we would contact you early in the fall to get you to commit. But there is no no money or no signing in blood. We're just you know, give you the opportunity to know that you have this position, and would want you to commit during your senior year. We also are in the process of working on some undergraduate opportunities that I think will come online in another year or two. But we were definitely looking for a community college into our undergrad pipeline. And we're looking to do one in the Virginia, DC area, and one in the Dallas, Fort Worth area. So more to come on that, but community college students are definitely in our sights for that opportunity as well. So good question. These slides are not available, but the recording of this webinar will be available on our website tomorrow in our Zendesk help area on our website. And there are other webinars that are there now, and we're doing more of them over the next couple months in a lot of different areas, and doing different Q&As with different groups over the next couple of months, and we'll be recording these and putting them there. So yeah, no GRE for us. You just have to take the Praxis core for DC or Baltimore, or the PACT, one of the PACT tests. So either the EC6, which stands for Early Childhood through 6th grade, or Secondary English Language Arts 7 through 12, or Secondary Math 7 through 12 for Texas. So those tests are all administered by ETS. You can take them all electronically. But you need to take and pass those tests by May 22nd, 2017 here. So you can start our selection process. I would start preparing if you're concerned at all about passing in time. That's why we have created resources, free resources here for math assistance. Some of this math is from maybe more 6th grade, and not that it's just maybe that you haven't done it in a while. So we want you to really, you know, take the time and study and be prepared so that you can take it and be ready. So I just got a question about if they're preferable 4-year colleges to graduate from. So we do have sort of portfolio schools that we go to around the country, but we are very open to whichever colleges. We also post our job posting at over 600. So it's more a people power issue, or that we're not able to get to more colleges. So there really isn't a preferable 4-year college. We are looking for the right people. And again, this question is coming from community college folks. So again, like, if we see community college, we know you're working very hard and committed. So that will be seen very positively. Yep. So just to reiterate on the Hopkins Masters. So I was talking about that some of you may know that they're headquartered in Baltimore, where we are. However, all of the coursework that you take will be in Baltimore. The Baltimore folks are now taking some courses on the campus, which wasn't before typically we do it at a school that space, but all of our faculty are Hopkins faculty. They are hired in each of our cities, so in Baltimore, in DC, in Dallas, Fort Worth, and all of the coursework is done in person just for folks in our program in physical locations in each of those 3 sites. So all in person. So again, that does, create, as if you missed earlier, I was talking about the importance of our of the peer learning that goes on, in the peer support that you get from other cohort members. Like, that's really important. We definitely have had people that have married, there's children, there's certain teachers' children. Many folks are living together. This is a tight group that you will have for a long time. I just had another webinar I did with someone who was in their 4th year, was still living with somebody from Urban Teachers, who talked about, after finishing the master's at the end of the 2nd year, miss seeing her colleagues, every day like she was before. But in her 4th year was really looking to, start thinking about what she was going to do in her education career over the next 2 or 3 years, and definitely had planned to be reaching out to her colleagues from Urban Teachers, that are all across the city in charter schools and traditional schools, to network for her next career opportunity. So really great that we do this in person. You will meet these people in person. Your professors are going to be in person, and they're also your coaches. So that's another different role that these faculty play, and that they're your coaches following you into your school as well in person. Any other questions tonight? All right. So again, here, I'm just going to flash here. And I put in the chat tool the link to the next Zoom I'm doing in less than 20 minutes now. That will be more of a Q&A with folks in our program. And like I said, I have them a bit staggered because of their schedules tonight. So I hope some of you can participate in that as well and hear from folks in our program directly. I thank you for tuning in tonight, and please be in touch. I put my email here, Kerry.Swarr@urbanteachers.org. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. And if you want to tell me where you are, I'm happy to connect you to the closest recruiter. There's also a link on our website for events. We are all over the country, so you might want to take a look and see where we are. It might be in a city right where you are. So, and then we can set up a coffee chat and meet in person. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great night.